Alright, so after probably a good 3 or 4 hours of searching around the internet looking for reasons why I couldn't get this turbo housing off of this turbo, I come along a guy talking about the heat shield that comes in behind the turbine wheel here. So I've been working on this for 2 days now, and looks like that the housing is actually broke loose from the center section. But as you can see, you can spin it 360 degrees pretty much, but you still can't get it off. It won't come off no matter how much you hit it, no matter how much you pry on it. So after doing a bunch of research, we come up to that the heat shield could be stuck in the housing. Pretty common if they're rusted pretty bad like this one is. So once you've removed your bolts from the back side of your turbine housing and little bitty C-shaped pieces of metal that hold it to the center section. Bolts. Alright, so we've been working on this turbo for a little while now, and we've run into the problem where we've actually broke the turbine housing loose, but it's not coming apart from the center section. So after doing a bunch of research online, it turns out that there's a heat shield inside that's bad about getting stuck. Now, to get the turbo to this point, we've obviously used our trusty rubber mallet, you know. Took a little bit of force to get it broke loose in the center section. Some people have more problems than I did, but once you get it broke loose, it should slide off, but it's not. So what's happening here is the heat shield, like I said, is actually stuck inside. We've actually already done one turbo. It's a twin turbo setup. So I'm going to show you guys how I got it apart, and hopefully it helps you guys. Well, I didn't have any reference to go off of. So, all right, as you can see from the first video, we moved over to the hydraulic press that I have in the garage here, and we rigged this up to where we have these two plates of steel up under the turbine housing. Now, your turbine housing is flat on the back side where your bolts are located, but you also have a lip coming off of the center section that you want to stay off of. If you get your metal plates on those lips, you'll be pressing against the turbine to the center housing and possibly damage the bearing system inside. Now, since we've broken the turbine housing loose already, we're not actually loading the bearings like you would if you were trying to break the housing loose initially. You'll see when we get this apart that your heat shield is actually loose behind the turbine housing, and that's what's actually holding us, not the actual housing to the center section. So what you're going to do is you're going to apply medium amounts of pressure at first and pretty much just see how things go. You're going to want to get your press right pretty close to center on the turbine shaft as you can, and like I said, load it down pretty good. Once you get a decent amount of pressure, double check your rig, make sure you're not, you don't have them setting on the lift down there. So I'm going to apply a little more pressure. When I get a decent amount of pressure to it and it feels pretty tight, I'm actually going to tap the housing like so. It's going to take a little bit of that to get it to come out. They're pretty stuck usually. So, round two. Now what I'm doing is just trying to shock it a little bit to try and get it to move. A little more pressure. It's pretty lengthy process. We hit the other one for quite a while before it finally decided to liberate itself from the turbine housing. Okay, so after some beating and some penetrating fluid and some beating some more pressing, we finally made some headway on this thing. Just like the other one, once the heat shield finally does break loose in the housing, things go pretty quickly. However, we did have to apply a little more pressure this time than last time. As you can see, I'm gonna slowly increase the pressure on the center section, and I'm gonna tap the housing with a hammer. And you can actually, if you maintain a constant pressure on your jack lever, as you hit it, you can actually feel the hydraulics extend. So. There it goes. Okay, and we are officially out. As you can see, you've got quite a bit of rust right around your heat shield that was at the bottom of the turbo. This is what was holding us, by the way. So now that that's free, clean the dust off of the turbine wheel here. Everything spins freely, no play, everything's all hunky-dory. But, like I said, I didn't have a video or any information to help me. Here's how I did it. Yeah. It works for you, works for you. If you don't like it, that's fine, keep it to yourself. This is the way it worked for me.